Well, you've tried to get into the secret supernatural service your whole life. Now there's just one step left to reach that goal. You need to pass an exam to prove you can handle the supernatural and paranormal. Keep track of how many answers you get right. Your results await at the end. A helicopter leaves you on the shore. Your mission? Get to the other side of the island where the lifeboat will arrive for you. Seems easy enough on an island this small, but here's the catch. A few people and a lot of supernatural monsters are the only inhabitants of this island. You see 3 roads with signs near each of them. The first leads to vampires. The second road takes you to zombies. The third one leads to alligators. Which road do you choose? You have 10 seconds to decide. Choose the road to alligators. As I said, only people and monsters live on the island. No real-world creatures here. You take the third road and end up in a huge meadow. The scorching sun is beating down on you, and you want to find some shade. Fortunately, you see 2 houses ahead. The first looks very old and decrepit. The windows are broken. It's missing most of its shutters, and it looks like the whole thing could collapse at any minute. The second house looks brand new, sturdy, clean, but you notice it doesn't have any windows at all. Where will you go? 10 seconds on the clock. On this strange island, the second house without windows is a sure sign that the inhabitant is afraid of sunlight. You don't want to land in the trap of vampires. You choose the first house. You find yourself in a large room. Everything's covered in cobwebs. A thick layer of dust coats the furniture, and the floor is creaky. You find a can on the table. All it says is antidote. You're sure this could be useful, so you put it in your pocket. You also find a bunch of keys and go to the far end of the room. There are 3 doors before you. The first door has several locks on it, but the keys you found will open them. The second door clearly says werewolf inside. There are no signs on the third door, and it looks inviting, clean, and cobweb-free. Which door do you choose? Your 10 seconds starts now. The locks on the first door mean there must be someone or something kept inside that shouldn't be let out. Better not open it. If the third door has no webs or dust on it, then someone must use it regularly. It's likely the werewolf lives there. So you choose the second door. The exit leads you to a park with trees and shrubs. It's strange how quaint it looks for a place like this. You see a group of 7 people ahead. They also look totally normal, but as soon as you come closer, you notice there's definitely something off about a few of them. They're zombies. How can you identify them? Careful, they might spot you. You have only 7 seconds now. The right answer is 3. The guy is trying to find his eyes that fell out. The girl on the bench is eating ice cream with body parts in it. And this man doesn't even notice the dog biting his leg. You're afraid of zombies as much as the next guy. But the really scary thing is those people standing nonchalantly nearby. Anyway, you discreetly pass by this strange crew and eventually come to a mountain. You climb to the top and enjoy the view of a beautiful sunset. To move on, you need to cross one of the 2 bridges. Strangers are standing at the other end of each one. You're sure one of them is a werewolf. But who is it? How can you tell? Looks like those zombies caught your scent. Hurry, you only have 7 seconds. You've watched the sunset, which means it'll get dark soon. Tonight is a full moon, so you'll be able to see which of these people will turn into a werewolf. You've crossed the safe bridge. It's nighttime, but the bright full moon illuminates the path for you. You see a huge castle ahead. You're sure ghosts live there, but you don't care. It's better to face ghosts than stay outside with all these other creatures. You enter the castle and find yourself at a ball. 8 people with masks are dancing. You realize this is a test of your attentiveness. How many of these people are ghosts? 7 seconds until you're spotted. That lady is dancing, but her feet aren't touching the floor. She's floating. Everyone is wearing modern dresses and costumes. But that couple over there is dressed as if they're from the Victorian era. Ghosts can't change clothes, right? You've spotted 3 ghosts, and you decide not to interfere with their dance. Gotta keep moving on. You come to another room. You see a huge table with a buffet of food: fried chicken, French fries, pizza, vegetables, fruit, soda, mouth-watering desserts, and pastries. 8 people are sitting at the table. You've worked up quite an appetite by now and consider having a bite. But intuition tells you something is wrong here. You realize these are all vampires. But how did you know? You better decide in 5 seconds. Why is all the food on the table untouched? Does anyone in this room really want to eat? Oh, they definitely want to dine, but not on ordinary food. They want your blood. Hurry, run! You book it out of there, but the vampires pursue you. To be saved, you need to choose one of 3 rooms along the way. There's a huge fire in the first room. A pit with sharp spears at the bottom awaits you in the second. The third room is filled with poisonous gas. Which one will you choose? Hurry, they'll be here in 5 seconds. The correct answer is the room with the gas. If you breathe in the poisonous stuff, the vampires won't drink your toxic blood. But how will you save yourself? Oh, that's right. Earlier, you found an antidote. You drink it, fully recover, and leave the mansion. You go through the jungle and finally find the shore. Perfect, you've reached your goal. That's when your joy is cut short by the sight of 3 people flailing out in the water. Help! We can't swim! You're about to dive in the water to save them, but your intuition tells you something's fishy here. 2 of them are sea monsters trying to lure you into a trap. But which ones? You only have 5 seconds to save the real person. One of them has webbed fingers, and that one's gills are visible, but that guy over there still needs your help. So you save him and head back to the shore. You make a fire to keep warm. That's when a bright beam of light shines on you from the sky. It's the helicopter here to pick you up after the test. Hooray! It throws a rope ladder down. You start to approach it, but then you realize something's not right. Do you climb up or do you trust your instincts? You better decide in 5 seconds. Helicopter? A lifeboat was supposed to arrive for you, remember? You don't board the helicopter, but unfortunately, your new friend did. The chopper quickly darts away into the stars. Yes, it was a UFO. That's when the lifeboat arrives. Congrats, you made it off the island. But is your score enough to pass the test? 0 to 3 points. You'd have a rough time lasting in the secret supernatural service. You need to train your attention to detail and decision-making skills. Don't worry, you'll get better with practice. 4 to 7 points. You're quite smart and resourceful, but you'll still have some fine-tuning to do in the service. Even if you're usually good at decision-making and not succumbing to panic, one slip-up could cost you. 8 to 10 points. You passed with flying colors. The Secret Supernatural Service will be honored to have such a survival expert among their ranks. Nice job, But don't get too overconfident. You still need to stay on high alert in this field.
Jim goes hiking and gets lost in the woods. After a while, he gets really hungry. Jim wanders around and finds these 3 options, but only one of them is safe. Can you help Jim make the right choice? All the footsteps are leading to this berry bush, but not a single animal walked away from it, so the berries are probably poisonous. There's a scorpion creeping around these delicious bananas, so Jim should choose the apple tree. Timmy is packing bags for a hike in the mountains. Can you sort out extra items? It's unlikely he's going to need a hairdryer. Timmy's already taking a flashlight, and he probably won't have access to electricity. Therefore, he doesn't need this table lamp. And finally, he shouldn't take this heavy silver cutlery. A frog is at the bottom of a well. The well is 30 feet deep. The frog climbs up 5 feet every day, but it slips back 4 feet every night. After how many days will the frog be free? "26 days. Wow. The frog climbs up by just 1 foot per 24 hours. So in 25 days, it will be at the level of 25 feet. And on the 26th day, it will make the final 5 feet jump and get out of the well. Billy here wakes up in a creepy cave and finds 4 tunnels leading outside. He only has one chance to escape. There's a hungry tiger inside the first tunnel. The second tunnel is filled with dust and spider webs. Yuck! There's a water-filled tank with sharks inside the third tunnel. And the fourth tunnel is full of venomous snakes. Which tunnel is more or less safe to enter? Billy should choose the second tunnel. There are no spiders in this picture, only the webs. Crawling through them might be unpleasant, but at least he'll stay safe. 3 tourists go hiking and get into trouble. Surprise, surprise. Can you guess who has more chances to survive? The third person. Although rats are gross, they're not fatal. Diana's boat was wrecked, and she ended up on a tropical island. The locals speak an unknown language, so Diana can't understand them. But still, she managed to spot this guy's wife right away. Can you see her too? It's the third lady. They have similar tattoos. Wendy is walking in the woods and falls into the trap of evil elves. She offers their king a deal. "If I write your exact age on a piece of paper, you'll let me go." The king agrees and gives Wendy a piece of paper and a pen. In a minute, he lets her go. How did she do it? Wendy literally did what she said. She wrote your exact age on the paper. Ah, clever girl. Stan is walking home in a haunted city. He finds a nice spot to shoot a TikTok. But unfortunately, he falls into a basement. Stan looks around and finds 4 doors out. There's a hungry dragon behind the first door. The second way is filled with intense fire. There's a desert filled with hungry piranhas behind the third door. And venomous snakes are waiting behind the fourth door. Which way is the safest? The third one. Piranhas live in water, so they wouldn't manage to survive in the desert. Therefore, they're not dangerous for Stan. Jessica gets lost in the desert with just one small bottle of water. She has no clue where the nearest water source is. What would you suggest? Run as quickly as possible to find more water? Pour all water on her head to avoid sunstroke. Find a shady place and rest. Stay where she is and shout for help as loud as possible. The third option is the best. When it gets darker and cooler, she can walk further and find help. Tilda is boarding a private jet. The crew greets her, and she spots an imposter among the crew members right away. Can you see this person too? The pilot is wearing a badge with a female face and name on it. Therefore, he had stolen someone else's ID. Tyler wakes up in the morning and finds out that his shadow is gone. He goes to the local witch. She offers to choose from these 6 options, but only one of these shadows really belongs to Tyler. Can you spot which one? Only the first shadow fits perfectly. Nina and Sarah are both fond of swimming, but one of them is making a big mistake. Can you guess who? Nina. The sign says that the water in this river contains toxic waste. Meanwhile, Sarah can easily surf in large waves. Kyle and Betty go to a remote village to spend a romantic weekend. They see a cute little farm on the way and buy some pomegranates. They go on a picnic and enjoy the fruits. Each of them eats half of the pomegranate. In 10 minutes, Kyle gets very sick. Betty takes him to the hospital. Doctors check everything and come to the conclusion the pomegranate was poisoned. Kyle and Betty ate the same food and drank the same drinks all day. How is it possible that Betty still feels well? The poison was in the white seeds. Kyle ate them whole, while Betty only the red part. Allison is jogging in a park. Suddenly, she comes across an angry brown bear. It's getting closer and closer, but Allison manages to survive. What did she do? Started running as fast as she could? Fell to the ground and pretended to be unconscious? Or stood still and didn't move? What do you say? Usually, brown bears only attack people when they're surprised or feel threatened. Allison fell to the ground, and the bear didn't consider her dangerous. Peter is hiking in the middle of nowhere. Suddenly, he sees a mountain tiger in the distance. He's trying not to panic and begins to look for a place to hide. There are 3 possible options, but only one of them is more or less safe. Can you help him make the right choice? If Peter climbs this tree, the tiger can easily get him there. Tigers actually like to swim. That's why it's not safe for Peter to escape by boat. But if he hides in this cave and blocks the entrance with a stone, he can call rescuers and wait for evacuation. Alice is 45 years older than her son Tom. Both of their ages contain prime numbers as the digits. Also, Alice's age is the reverse of Tom's age. Can you figure out their ages? The only single-digit prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, and 7. Here's a list of possible age combinations: 32 and 23, 52 and 25, 73 and 37, 53 and 35, 75 and 57. 72 and 27, but only the last combination meets the first requirement. The age difference should be 45 years. Therefore, Alice is 72 and her son is 27. Polly is an archaeologist. She excavates an ancient city. Suddenly, she finds a beautiful antique vase, or vase if you prefer. But one piece is missing. Polly also finds these ceramic fragments. Can you help her find the missing piece of the vase? The fourth fragment fits perfectly. Dan lands with a parachute in a field in the middle of nowhere. Been there, done that. He finds the nearest bus station to get back to the city, but only one of these 4 buses will arrive at the station. Can you guess which one? It's the second bus. You can crack this maze much easier if you start drawing from the final destination. Amy leaves her workplace to go to the bathroom. She returns and finds out that someone had stolen all the cash from her wallet. Amy checks the wallet's surface for fingerprints, but she only finds her own. The next day, Amy questions 3 of her coworkers. Mike says, "Sorry, I've been out for lunch when the robbery took place." Oliver says, "I've been feeling sick all morning, so I went home early." And Will says, "I've been having a conference call with our clients." Can you spot the thief? It's Oliver. Take a look at his trash bin. He used gloves to steal the cash and then left them in the trash. He's the clumsy culprit. You board a small plane. Nice. You're the only passenger on board. In a few hours, you'll be sunbathing on the beach, sipping something cold and refreshing. But before that happens, you'll face an epic test to see if you've got the kind of survival skills you need to survive in the wild. Count up your right answers and see what it all means at the end of the video. You fasten your seatbelt and fall asleep just before takeoff. Suddenly, turbulence. You wake up from a dream where you were an octopus in an earthquake. The plane's shaking, your luggage falls out of the overhead. This is serious. You strap on an oxygen mask and notice a flash of lightning outside. A second later, you see another flash. But this time, it's your plane's engine. It's on fire. You're falling. The screeching of ripped metal, screams, and then darkness. You pass out. After a few seconds, you open your eyes and find yourself falling from the sky. Okay, get it together. You unfasten yourself from the chair to stop spinning. The first rays of sun appear over the horizon, and down below, you see a dense forest, a green field, and a small pond. By stretching out your body, you can change direction, you can steer. So, where are you going to land or crash? You have 3 seconds to decide. The best answer is the forest. A fall into water from that high up would hurt the same as falling flat on the ground. But tree branches can soften a fall. You plummet into the forest and lose consciousness. Day 1. Awake. Your whole body aches. Fortunately, you're not injured and you can even walk. Those branches saved your life. Yeah, this is a fairy tale. Now, where to? You don't have a map or a compass. Then suddenly, you hear the sound of a river. You need to choose a direction. Here are the options. Walk in a straight line. Find some moss on a tree and walk in the direction it's growing. Find the river and walk along it. You have 10 seconds to choose. Don't go straight if you don't want to get lost and walk in circles. Navigating by moss? Yeah, I just made that up to mess with you. You should go along the river. It'll lead to a pond or a lake, and there might be people there, or a road, or some signs at least. Day 2. You make it to a lake, but there's no sign of civilization. Now what? Maybe head back up the river? Along the way, you pass out again. You wake up and it's cold, so you drink some river water and try to make a fire. You collect dry twigs, brushwood, birch bark, and moss. Oh, sweet! A gas lighter and a piece of paper in your pocket. What's the best way to start a fire? Put the branches in a pile and pour gasoline on them? Put pieces of paper in the branches and fire them up. Make the branches into a triangle, place birch bark under, and light it. You have 7 seconds, and it's getting really cold. Don't pour that precious gasoline on the branches. It'll burn out too quickly, and those fumes are bad for you. The paper will burn off too fast, and the wood won't catch fire. The triangle of wood will let air pass through it. That's the key. Fire and air, a match made in heaven. Get it? Match? Okay. Day 3. You finally get warm, drink some water, and continue along the river. Uh-oh, you haven't eaten anything for 3 days. Gotta get on it. You don't know how to fish, so you go into the forest to find some food. You have a few choices. Berries, they look delicious and seem pretty juicy. Ants, mushrooms. You have 7 seconds. Choose wisely. Ants are the most delicious and safe thing around. You just can't eat random berries or mushrooms. They can be poisonous. Now, how do you get those ants to march right into your mouth? Hey, I can't hand you all the answers. Day 4. A big bear's blocking your path. You shout to scare it away, but it just looks at you. It's not happy. And now it's coming your way. What should you do? Run as fast as possible, because bears are big and clumsy. Climb the nearest tree and sit up there till the bear goes away. Lie down in a fetal position and stay absolutely still. You have 5 seconds to make a choice, and it better be the right one. Bears are fast and can climb trees like they're oversized squirrels. The right decision is to pretend to be asleep. The bear will see that you're not a threat and probably will pass you by. Day 5. Heavy rain starts to fall. You need to hide under a tree, build shelter, and make another fire. Which of these 3 trees should you hide under? You have 7 seconds before you're soaked to the bone. The tree on the left is rotten and might crumble at any moment. There's a snake crawling in the tree on the right. Venomous or not, it's not worth the risk. The tree in the middle is perfect. Day 6. Your stomach starts to rumble. Those ants weren't exactly filling. You decide to catch a fish at all costs. Aha! You could use a piece of your clothing as bait, but where can you find a fishing rope? You have 10 seconds for this one. The answer is your shoelaces. They should be enough if you tie them together. After a long day of fishing, you finally catch one. Aha! Sushi! Day 7. Your journey along the river continues. Up ahead, you see that the river splits into 2 smaller streams. Decision time, left or right. This could mean life or not. You have 7 seconds to decide your fate. Definitely the right stream. There are wolf tracks by the left stream. A pack of hungry wild animals? Yeah, no thanks. Day 8. No way, you're saved! In the distance, you can just make out the roof of a big house. You run over and tragedy. The house is totally abandoned and almost destroyed. But you still decide to go in. In the hallway, you see 3 doors. There's a sign with snakes and spiders on the first door. The second door also has a sign, a pit with spears at the bottom. The third door has a lightning bolt sign on it, probably some high voltage stuff going on in there. Which room should you choose? I'll give you 10 seconds for this one. Go for the third door. The house is abandoned, so the power's probably been out for years. You decide to stay the night, rest, and move on in the morning, even though it's super creepy. Day 9. Time to hit the road again. In the house, you find a piece of broken mirror and grab it just in case. You've been walking for hours, but the river doesn't seem to be leading anywhere. Then you hear the most magical sound. You look up. A helicopter! You need them to see you, but there's no time to start a fire. What can you do? The helicopter's about to fly off. 5 seconds, quick! Grab that piece of mirror. You can reflect the sun off it and try and direct the light at the helicopter. Yeah, you've been spotted, but you can't be saved. No. Thunderclouds come out of nowhere and force the helicopter to fly away. Your best bet? Stay right where you are. That helicopter will come back for you tomorrow, hopefully. Day 10. You wake up in a good mood. The rescuers will be here soon. You take off your shoes to wash your feet in the river. Then, a not-so-magical sound. You hear a growl. 2 wolves are staring down their noses at you. You start running in a total panic. The wolves start to chase you. They're catching up. There are 3 paths up ahead. The first road is covered in hot coals. The second one is littered with rusty nails. The third has broken glass all over it. Which path are you going to choose? You have 2 seconds. The wolves are coming right up behind you. Your best bet is the hot coals. You're running, which means you won't have time to feel any pain. It might get a little hot, but your feet will be safe. The wolves don't dare run through the coals, but they stay nearby. Great, now the rescuers won't know where to find you. Wait a minute, how did these 3 paths appear in the forest anyway? People made them. You're on the right path. Civilization is near. Yeah, food, water, Wi-Fi. Day 11. The helicopter appears in the sky again. You whip out your mirror and go to town. The helicopter starts to fly down, but it can't land on your side of the river. The forest is too dense. The rescuers are waiting for you on the other side. Quick! 3 logs lie across the water. Which one's safe to run across? You have 10 seconds, so think carefully. The first log looks old. The river might carry it away at any moment. The third log, well, it's a crocodile. You need to cross the river on the second log. You're saved. Next stop, a cool ocean breeze. But what you don't know yet is that there's one more test. You'll be swept far out into the ocean after you accidentally fall asleep on a little boat you rented. But that's another story. Now, let's check out how well you did. 0 to 4 points? You better not go camping without an experienced guide. Hey, don't worry, survival in the wild isn't for everyone. 5 to 9 points? Not bad. If you get lost in the forest, you won't panic. But things might get a bit hairy if you have to stay out there for more than a couple of days. 10 to 12 points. Wildlife is your second home. If things get really bad, you could just camp out in the woods forever. Hey, just never mind that part about falling out of the plane without a parachute. Once, a prison guard accidentally overheard very disturbing rumors. Someone was planning a prison break. The guard watched all the footage from the surveillance cameras and discovered that 2 women had been behaving suspiciously. One of them was a former bodybuilder, muscular, with short hair, and covered in tattoos. The other was quiet and reserved. She preferred to spend time on her own and sometimes cried in her cell. After watching the video several times, the guard figured out which woman was planning to escape. Can you do the same? It's the second prisoner. There's a file in her bun. She can use it to get through the metal bars. Mark comes up to the table. There are 3 apples, but only one of them is safe to eat. The other 2 are poisonous. Unfortunately, Mark can't skip breakfast. So, which apple should he eat? Look, this apple has a caterpillar in it. It means there's no poison in the fruit and it's safe to eat. These 3 women, Jessica, Mary, and Olivia, went shopping. 2 of them are pregnant and one is just trying to steal a watermelon. Can you tell which one is hiding a watermelon? It's Olivia. She's wearing heels. It's not the kind of shoes a pregnant woman would choose to wear. Nathan, a successful entrepreneur with a multi-million-dollar business, and his friend Jackson, a famous private detective, returned from a long-term trip abroad. They decided to stop by at Nathan's villa on the way to the city. When the men entered the house, though, they saw that everything more or less valuable had been taken away. The entire villa was a mess. "I've only been away for a month. What happened here?" exclaimed Nathan. Jackson took an apple from the dining room table and started to munch on it thoroughly. "The lock isn't broken. It means the person who took your stuff had the key." After a while, the detective asked Nathan to invite 3 people. Mia, Nathan's niece, told Jackson she hadn't visited her uncle's home. She had been having serious problems with her car for already 2 months, and the villa was too far away from the city to get there by public transport. Sarah, the maid, claimed that she had stopped by several weeks ago to bring some food and tidy up, but since then she hadn't been to the villa. Adam, the gardener, told the detective he had been on vacation and had just returned. He even offered to show his plane tickets to Jackson. The detective figured out immediately who was behind the mess. You have 8 seconds to figure it out. It was the maid. She said she brought food several weeks ago, but the apple Jackson grabbed from the table was perfectly fresh. Once, Ms. White heard someone crying. It was her little student, Abigail. The girl told the teacher her cookies had been disappearing from her locker. Someone had been taking them for already several weeks, but Abigail didn't know who. Ms. White decided to help the girl. They equipped the locker with a simple alarm that had to go off if someone who wasn't Abigail opened the door. They hid behind the corner and began waiting. In 10 minutes, they heard the alarm. When they reached the locker, it was already empty, and there was no one nearby. But Ms. White noticed somebody disappear behind the art room door. She rushed inside, but everything looked normal. And still, the teacher needed no more than a minute to understand who had been eating Abigail's cookies. Look at the picture of the art room carefully. Can you find out the answer within 8 seconds? It's the girl on the left. Her painting's black and white, but there are only various shades of blue on her palette. And maybe the cookie crumbs are a giveaway too. I don't know. One perfume company hires new staff. They must swear an oath of loyalty to the company if they want to get a job. 10 people are saying the words of the corporate oath simultaneously, but some of them are cheating. Help the directors figure out who these people are. This guy keeps his fingers crossed, and the man on the left is standing with his legs crossed. They won't be loyal to the company, so the director doesn't hire them. 2 influential media moguls are having lunch at an expensive restaurant. They're discussing the merger of their companies. The transaction amount is several billion dollars. They're whispering since the terms of this deal are top secret, and they suspect that someone can hear them. And they're right. Some curious people are eavesdropping on the conversation between the 2 businessmen. Try to find them. The girl at the next table is reading a newspaper that is turned upside down. She's obviously trying to overhear what the billionaires are talking about. This guy over there is listening to music, but the headphone wire is not connected to anything. Another girl is sitting at the table in the corner with a cocktail, but instead of an umbrella, there's an antenna in her glass. She's recording the conversation. "Where are my employees?" a boss shouts. He's furious because 3 people haven't come to the office. He calls each of them to find out the reason. All 3 tell him they got ill. The boss doesn't believe them, so they have to arrive at the office. Mary is wearing a warm jacket, hat, and scarf. She sneezes, coughs, and looks sick. Lori is walking on crutches. Her leg is in a cast. Sometime later, Michael appears. He's got a hand injury, and now he can't type. The boss is sure that one of them is faking. Who is it? Mike's left arm is broken, but his phone is in his left pocket. He must have used his broken arm to put it there, which means he's pretending. Apparently, he just didn't want to come to work. Ice will melt if you heat it, but if you heat me, I'll become solid. What am I? I'm an egg. You buy this thing to eat, but you never eat it. What is it? It's a plate. Mia was going back home one evening. It was 11 p.m., and she had to cross a small dark park in front of her house. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind. Someone grabbed her bag and ran away. The girl called the police, and they questioned 4 suspects. Jack said, "I was choosing an outfit for a party." Camilla was getting ready for her final exam at home. Andrew told the police he had been watching birds in the park. Nora was at her yoga class. After the interview, the police understood who was behind the robbery. Can you? It was Andrew. At 11 p.m., it's too dark to see birds. James left a folder with important documents on the table in his home office and went to a business meeting. When he returned, he found out that the documents had disappeared. James had 3 suspects. His brother said, "I've been swimming in the pool since you left. I haven't seen or heard anything." The cook replied, "Tomorrow we're having a party. I've been preparing the food." The security guard told James, "I've been outside all this time, checking the garden for mice." Who knows where the documents are? It's the security guard. His job description doesn't include pest control. An accident happened at a busy crossroads in a small town. A driver who caused the crash left in a hurry. Luckily, several witnesses managed to describe the car. A police officer headed to the suspect's house. There, he saw a car that looked exactly like the one from the description, but its owner claimed that he had spent all day at home. The police officer knew the suspect was lying in no time. How? He touched the car hood. It was still hot from the engine that had worked not so long ago. You're walking along a railroad track. Suddenly, you see a speedy train approaching you. Instead of getting off the track immediately, you run toward the train. Why do you risk your life this way? When you notice the train, you're on a bridge. You can't leave the track right away and have to run to the closest place where you can do it.
Sheila participates in a beauty pageant. The next catwalk will take place in 30 minutes. Sheila leaves her stuff in the dressing room and goes outside to talk on the phone. After that, she returns and sees that someone has torn her costume. Sheila gets furious and questions her rivals. Millie says, "I was getting my makeup done, so I sat in my chair motionless, and I couldn't look around." Chelsea says, "I was in a toilet. I think I ate something wrong for lunch." And Isabella says, "I was outside the dressing room filming stories for my subscribers." Who is lying? Millie. She said she got her makeup done, but why did she ruin it by putting on a face mask? Sheila goes to the storage room to find a new dress. Suddenly, the door slams shut behind her.
Oh no!
She needs to enter an 8-letter password to open the door. Sheila needs to be on the stage in 5 minutes. Can you help her crack the code? This picture on the wall is a hint. Sheila needs to enter paradise. Sheila opens the door and meets face to face with creepy rats. She runs away and gets lost in the basement. Sheila finds these 3 doors leading to the stage, but each door is hiding some danger. There are broken wires and a puddle of water on the floor behind the first door. There's a scorpion behind the second door waiting to bite Sheila. And there's a magical portal leading to the top of a mountain behind the third door. Can you help Sheila make the right choice? She should choose the first door. There's enough space. Sheila can crawl underneath the wires. Sheila enters the stage and spots 3 weird details in the auditorium. Can you see them too? Take a closer look at this lady. She's holding a book upside down. This musician is playing the violin without any strings. Also, there's a panda among the viewers. Sheila becomes a beauty queen. She gets a diamond tiara and a paycheck. She goes backstage, but suddenly, all lights in the building go out for a few seconds. When the lights turn on again, Sheila sees that someone has stolen her tiara. She questions 3 rivals. Zoe says, "I don't want your cheap tiara. My dad is a billionaire." Jasmine says, "Someone pushed me in the dark and scratched my dress." Rachel says, "You must have dropped it on the floor. Look better." Who stole the tiara? Zoe. It's hidden under her diamond necklace. The next day, Sheila wakes up in a creepy castle. A wicked witch turned her into a monkey. To break the black magic, Sheila needs to use a spell. But the spell book is locked in a box. The lock requires a 6-digit code. Can you help her open the box? There are exactly 6 candles on the shelf above the box. It's a hint. Each candle has a particular number of dots, so the code is 24361. There are 4 big houses in Sheila's neighborhood. All 4 are standing in one row, and they have different colors: red, green, white, and blue. Mrs. Jones's house is somewhere to the left of the green house. The third house in the row is white. Mrs. Snake owns a red house, and Mrs. Crystal doesn't live at either end of the row, but she lives somewhere to the right of the blue house. Meanwhile, Mrs. Dillon lives in the 4th house. And the first house isn't red. Can you decide who lives where and what the color of each person's house is? From the clues, we know that the first and the third houses can't be red. Mrs. Dillon lives in the 4th house. Therefore, Mrs. Snake, who owns the red house, can only live in the 2nd. Since Mrs. Crystal doesn't live at either end, she must live in the 3rd house, which is white. Mrs. Jones's house is somewhere to the left of the greenhouse, which means that Mrs. Dillon lives in the 4th house. As for Mrs. Jones, she lives in the 1st house, and it's blue. Can you spot a fake teacher? The guy on the left isn't a real teacher, he's an actor. Take a closer look. There's a rec camera icon at the top of the screen. 2 friends want to cross a river. The only way to get to the other side is by boat. But this boat can only take 1 person at a time. The boat cannot return on its own, and there are no ropes or any other similar tricks. Yet both guys managed to cross the river using the boat. How is that possible? The guy started on the opposite banks of the river. Josh and Bob are twins. Josh lives with his wife, and Bob lives alone. Can you guess which one is Josh? It's the first guy. He has a pair of toothbrushes in his bathroom, while Bob only has one. A time traveler is attending this party. Can you spot this person? This lady's shoes look too old-fashioned. Chuck enters a spooky building where he's supposed to have a job interview. Suddenly, someone locks the door, and now Chuck is trapped. He wanders around for a while and sees these 4 doors. He also finds a note. Only door 3 is leading to the job interview. The remaining doors will take you to the black hole. Good luck. Can you help Chuck choose the right door? No need for luck, Chuck. The symbols on the door are actually numbers. So, Chuck should enter this door. I talk to you, you talk to me. Every day, you hold me. Yet, I can't smell you. What am I? I'm your mobile phone. A gentleman and a lady are talking. The person with black hair says, I'm a gentleman. The person with blonde hair says, I'm a lady. At least one of them lied. Can you guess the hair color of each person? If only one of them lied, they would both be gentlemen or both be ladies. Therefore, they both lied. It means that the lady has black hair and the gentleman is blonde. Can you spot what's wrong in this picture? There's no milk in the jug. Can you see anything odd in this picture? The image in the mirror is not reflected. Can you spot a vampire? This guy over here. Fiona is a young witch. She finds these 4 portals in a haunted castle. Fiona chooses one of the portals and enters. You can hear city noises from the first portal. You can hear sea waves from the second portal. You can hear leaves rustling from the third portal. And bells are ringing from the fourth. Which portal did Fiona enter? Fiona's dirty footprints on the floor are leading to the third portal. Don't mind the different sounds. This could just be a magic trick. Billy finds himself on the roof of a skyscraper that is about to crumble. The only way out is to use one of these 4 elevators. There's a werewolf hiding behind the first elevator. If Billy chooses the second elevator, he'll fall hundreds of feet. Super venomous snakes are crawling all over the third elevator. And mutated scorpions are waiting for Billy inside the fourth elevator. Just one bite will make him fall asleep forever. Which way should Billy choose? The first one. Take a look at the sky. The moon is not full, so the werewolf is harmless. Rachel meets 3 of her former school friends in the parking lot. All 3 want to impress Rachel, so they begin to discuss their new cars. Melanie says, I wanted my car to be one of a kind, so I bought this one. Peter says, since I'm a beginner, I purchased the cheapest used car. And finally, Samantha says, I bought a large car because I have a big family. Rachel spots a liar right away. What about you? It's Samantha. Her car key doesn't match the logo on the car.